G'day guys, on this week's episode of Budget Off-Road Touring, I thought I'd go through a few bits of basic recovery gear that everyone should have in their kit, as well as a few other bits and pieces when you're out solo travelling and exploring our great southern land. So to start off with our recovery kit gear, the first bit of gear you need is a recovery point. Now this is a rear recovery point, so it just goes in where your tow bar is, and then you can use it to winch or snatch off, and it's nice and safe. This one's rated to I think 5 tonne, the actual hitch, and then it's got a 19mm shackle on it. As well as a rear recovery point, you should also have at least one, but ideally 2 front recovery points. Now I don't have them on the D-Max right now, but they are definitely the next mod that I'm installing. These bits of gear that you're looking at right now are purely and simply designed for tow points when the vehicle's being shipped over here. They're not designed to be recovered off, they're not strong enough, and as you see on many other YouTube videos, they snap and become projectiles and will cause plenty of danger. So the next bit of gear that everyone should have in your setup, whether you're a weekend warrior, remote tourer, or just full drive enthusiast, is a Snatch Strap. Now to be legally sold in Australia, they all have to reach Australian standards. So it doesn't matter if you buy a $50 one from Audi or a $300 one from ARB. A Snatch Strap all has to reach the same quality. So as long as they've got a rating on the sticker or on the tag, well then you're good to go. So a Snatch Strap is designed like a giant rubber band. So they're built to stretch to about 20% bigger than what they actually are, which allows that pull to get the vehicle stuck out of the mud or out of the sand, wherever you're stuck. The reason why it's important to have your own Snatch Strap is so that you can use it when recovering your own vehicle. Obviously you need someone else with you to pull yourself out, but even when remote touring, it's important just to carry one of these and hope a passerby is going to help you out and get you out of the sticky situation. So obviously to use one of these, you will need a rated recovery point, whether front or rear, ideally both. So going with the Snatch Strap is you need a winch blanket or dampener like this one. These are designed so that if something, God forbid, does go wrong in your recovery, it will pull all the weight straight to the ground, which will avoid any metal bits flying through your windscreen and causing any damage or potentially killing someone. So ideally you'd have 2 of these in your setup. That way you can have one at the front and one at the rear, whether you're winching or snatching. We've only got the one, so one in the middle is better than nothing. If you don't have a blanket, you can use a jumper or another heavy bag to put over your strap and pull it down, but we strongly recommend just using a winch dampener or a blanket. They're not that expensive and they're crucial to have in your setup. It's important to have in your kit as well a few different size bow shackles. So this bigger one, the 19mm, which is also what I have on my rear recovery point, is rated to 4.7 tonne, or you can get smaller ones like this one. So this one's up to 3.2. It's important to carry a range of different sizes to not only fit your vehicle, but to cover someone else's if need be. I recovered a mate the other day and his recovery points didn't fit the larger shackle. So it was a good thing that I had this little one in there so I could still snatch him out. Now to go with your Snatch Strap, a tree trunk protector is really important. Now a lot of you will think, well, how is a tree trunk protector going to work with the Snatch Strap? If you've got 2 recovery points, you can use this as a bridle to put less strain on the vehicle and the strap itself. So virtually what it does is halves the load. So you're not purely recovering off one point. Allows for a more straight pull and a safer recovery. So as mentioned, everyone should have recovery points in their setup as part of their vehicle as a must. Never ever snatch or do a recovery off a tow ball. These are not designed for that sort of load. The only good use of a tow ball is towing a trailer or a caravan. Never put a strap over the top of the tow ball. Again, if you look on YouTube, a lot of damage and often death can occur from the tow ball snapping and flying back. Becomes the biggest bullet you'll ever see. So for your rear recovery points, we use the hitch receiver like this. Simple to use, goes straight in your tow bar, allows you to put the strap straight in and straight on. Now it's important when doing up a shackle of any kind that you do it all the way up, but then undo it a quarter of a turn. That way, under strain, the pin doesn't bound up, because otherwise it'll be quite difficult to get that undone. So a quarter of a turn releases the strain, just makes your life a bit easier at the end. So if you don't have a rear shackle like this one, we strongly recommend you get one, makes life a lot easier. However, you can get by with just using the pin that holds your tow bar in. So you just feed the strap through and then put the pin in, and then that will give you a safe recovery, a lot better option than the tow ball. We've recovered this way a fair few times. Problem is, pulling the pin out all the time during the day gets a bit of a struggle. So that's why the rear shackle is a lot better option, but that will get you out of trouble and do the job. So next up on our list today, whether you're a weekend warrior, solo traveller, everyone should carry with them at least a shovel. That way you can dig yourself out of a bog caught in mud or sand. Also real handy to have around camp. And a set of recovery boards. Ideally you'd have 4, obviously because you've got 4 wheels, but they usually only get sold in pairs, so 2 will get you out of trouble. As you can see, mine are a little bit worse for wear. A few cracks and a few knobs flying off them. But they're brilliant to use in those low traction areas to get you unstuck. So these can be used whether in sand, rock, mud, anything, just to give you that little bit of traction, and sometimes even track building if you need to. And yeah, they'll get you unstuck and solo recovered without the need for anyone else intervening. So next up on our list today is a jack. Whether you've got a high lift jack, a bottle jack, or a scissor jack. Now these are brilliant to have, not only just in general to change your tyre, but to lift your vehicle up so you can put rocks or sticks underneath your tyres, do a bit of track building, get you out of trouble. Or you need to do a trackside repair like we did with the CV the other day. So it doesn't matter what type of jack that you bring with you, it's important to get yourself a base plate or a solid bit of timber. It allows for more surface area, so the jack isn't going to sink into the ground, allowing for a more stable recovery or repair, whatever you need to do. Simple bit of gear to keep in your kit, light, easy, and they save you a lot of headache. So the Highlift can be used for a few things. Often considered the most dangerous part of a recovery kit if people have them, so a lot of people will now steer away from them. Only because they're pretty unstable, even with the base plate. When you've got the weight of the vehicle on top of it, they tend not to be very stable, but they are still pretty handy to have. So you can use it whether you need to lift, as I said, lift everything up, do a bit of track building, or you can use these as a winch to do a self-recovery if you don't have a winch on the front, or you need to do a rear recovery. So next up on our list today is a winch. Now these are not vital to have in your setup. We've only recently added it to ours. So we use an Adventure King's Dominator Extreme 12,000 pound winch. We haven't had a problem with it, works really well for the budget. I think these ones go for about 600 bucks. We were lucky enough to win this, so it did cost us a cent. But yeah, they're really handy to have, so you can do a solo recovery or use it to pull someone else out of a sticky situation. The other week, a mate of mine got on a bit of a gnarly angle, so we had to use the winch to pull him back down onto all fours, make sure everything is safe. So if you're using a winch, it's crucial to have with you your recovery blanket, winch blanket, dampener. Once again, same as the Snatch Strap, you put it over the rope, keeps everyone safe. If something goes wrong, pulls it straight to the ground. So once again, it's important to have a tree trunk protector in your setup, especially if you've got a winch. It protects the trees, which keep the tracks open, and provides a nice sturdy point to winch off. The next bit of winching gear that everyone with a winch should have in their kit is a Winch Extension Strap. So this one's a 10 meter strap. So as the name suggests, if your rope falls a bit short, it gives you the extra 10 meters or so of length to pull you out, whether you're short of a tree or your winching point. So the next bit that you can add to your winching setup is a Snatch Block. So these are pretty simple to use. Just fold the rope over like that and lock it into place. These are really handy whether you're not quite straight onto a tree. So using a second tree trunk protector, you can give yourself a better winching angle and redirect the rope. Or you can halve the load on your winch if you've got a rated recovery point, which I still don't have. But you can hook it straight back on, gives it a double line pull, extra strong, and pulls it straight in. So the next bit of recovery gear that everyone should have in their setup is some form of communication device. Whether that's a little 5-watt handheld walkie-talkie, or an in-vehicle CB radio. So in our setup, we use these little Oricom walkie-talkies as well as the GME TX3100. Either one of these are brilliant to have in your kit. That way, during a recovery, you can have clear communication with everyone involved. But obviously you need at least two, one in your vehicle, one in the vehicle that you're recovering with or recovering. That way you can have clear messages so that everyone understands what's going on. So as simple as saying, all right mate, you're ready to go, I'm about to snatch. Simple messages like that. Make sure everyone is aware of what's going on, everyone stays nice and safe. So guys, that brings us to the end of today's video. Hopefully we gave you some good bits of advice about what recovery gear you need in your setup. It's important to have rated recovery gear to make sure that everything stays nice and safe. Sorry about the cicadas in yet another video, but we'd like to record out in the bush, and so that compromise is that we have cicadas in the background. We are working on adding a mic to our budget off-road touring setup, so hopefully the next few videos we'll be able to have a nice clearer sound. So guys, that brings us to the end. Please smash that like button, hit subscribe and leave us a comment down below. But until next time, don't forget to go out and enjoy yourself out in the bush.